Okay, my name is Ron Beane, and my age is 75.
Okay. And a brief summary of your family history and your current family and also your past employment.
Okay, I grew up in the Cages Mountain community, Caldwell County. Went to school at Beane Elementary, Hudson High School. Then after high school, I went to Gardner-Webb Junior College for 2 years. And then I went to Appalachian my last 2 years and got my BS degree. And then I got my master's degree from Appalachian, and I got my EDS from Appalachian. So I was in education. I started out teaching and coaching, and I coached my first 4 years. I coached in the junior high in Lenore, and then after that I coached high school ball for 10 years, and coached. My goal was to coach high school ball for 10 years and then go into high school administration, which I did. I haven't regretted a single day.
Are there any special memories that you remember?
Well, one of my best memories, I guess, is when I went to Gardner-Webb. My goal was to always be a coach and always to be a teacher. But when I went to Gardner-Webb, I was fortunate enough to play basketball there for 2 years. And I thought that was pretty neat, coming from a small country community, going to college and being able to play basketball on the team for those 2 years that I was there.
Where did you get your inspiration to become a teacher?
From teachers that I had in school, and I could name several teachers that had a big influence on me when I was in school. In fact, I will. Ruth Green was my teacher at Beane Elementary School, and she was a big inspiration to me. Huey McManus was my 8th grade teacher. I enjoyed him. He was a super guy. In fact, he lived next door to us, which wasn't a good thing when I was in his classroom. And then in high school, I guess probably Ruth Smith, who taught algebra, was a big inspiration to me. Henry Lathan, who was a vocational agriculture teacher, who later became a principal of a high school at Hudson. He was a big inspiration. And then when I went away to college, I had a guy by the name of Paul Stacy who taught biology. He came to almost every one of our home basketball games, and then I would go to his class and have an hour lecture in the morning, and in the afternoon I'd go to his class for a 2-hour lab. And he was probably one of the biggest inspirations that I had to want to be a teacher. I thought he was great. All the kids in school really liked him. He always had time to talk with you, and he would go out of his way to make you feel good about yourself. And I think that's important in being a good teacher, is making people feel good about themselves, who they are, and where they are, and what they want to be, and where they want to go.
Do you think that your home life influenced who you are now and your decision to become a teacher and to go to the schools you went to?
Yes, I do. We were a close-knit family growing up, and we were all poor back in those days when I was a youngster, but we never knew we were poor because everyone else was in the same shape we were in. But being a close-knit family was a big help because it encouraged you to want to do your best, and I think that's important. Other people can encourage you, but you've got to have the drive and initiative yourself to want to better yourself and to want to make something out of yourself.
Do you remember any major events from your childhood that you think really impacted your life that were involved in the Caldwell community?
Well, I think probably one of the biggest things is in the summertime we sold minnows. my brothers and I, we sold minnows. Our dad would take us, and we would catch minnows, and we'd sell those minnows for 50 cents a dozen. And that really got me and got my brothers and others thinking about, you have to work in life to make something. And so we sold those minnows. I remember also I sold the Grit, which was a newspaper. It came once a week, and I rode my bicycle through the community selling that Grit, and I probably made $2.50 on Saturday selling the Grit, and it took me about all day to do it. But it got me to appreciate the value of money and the value of a dollar, because I was able to earn some of my own spending money, and I used that spending money from sale of minnows and from selling the Grit, and also worked in a store after school and on Saturdays for about 4 years, and I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. From your time being in the school system, what do you believe is the biggest accomplishment that either you've contributed to or that you think the school system has made in the time you've been involved with it?
Well, let me give you a little background on my school history, and I think that's important. When I first came out of college, I taught English and physical education at the junior high level, grades 6, 7, and 8. I did that for 4 years. And then after the 4th year, I went to high school and coached boys basketball and taught English and social studies. I did that at Gamel Collinsville High School. And that school, there's a Gamel Middle School now, but there's no longer a Gamel Collinsville High School. It's now, that high school is now a part of West Caldwell High School. So I stayed there 3 years, and then I left there and went to Highbrighton High School and was an assistant principal and coached at Highbrighton from 1966 to 1975. And I was an assistant principal. After that, in 1975, I became a high school principal at Lenore High School the last 2 years it was open. And then I went on to West Caldwell and I was principal there the first 5 years that school was open. And then after that, I went to the central office and was an associate superintendent in charge of personnel. And my job was to hire teachers and to hire employees and so forth. I think probably one of the things that had the biggest impact on me was being able to help a lot of other people. People who were looking for jobs, people that I knew, people that I had taught. Was able to encourage them, to go back to school, get your degree, and make something out of yourself. So one of the things I always used when I was in personnel, and I was in personnel as an assistant principal and as a principal of 2 high schools, and then as a superintendent, one of the superintendents for personnel of the school system. One of the biggest things I always had to do was to be a reference for someone who was looking for a job. In other words, we would have people who maybe their husband may be moving to New York, and then I would call someone and say, look, this person did a good job for us. You'd do well to hire that person. One of the bylines that I used when people would call me and said, my name is Joe Crowder, and I'm in Davidson County, North Carolina. We have a person here who said that they work for you, and I want to know what kind of reference you would give that person. And if I knew the person and they did a good job, I would say, you could do a lot better, but you ain't going to do a whole lot worse. And that was kind of the way I put it. And that was the way it was. I did this one time. One of my coaches took a job at Kings Mountain High School. And the principal from Kings Mountain called me, and I'd never met the guy, but I'd heard his name, and I knew his name as a school administrator. He called me, and I told him that same thing. I said, you could do a lot worse, but you ain't going to do a whole lot better. Mm-hmm. The best thing you can do is hire him. And he did. About 5 years later, I was in another county in the state, down east, and I went in, and I was introduced to this guy, and this guy who was the superintendent of that county then was the high school principal at Kings Mountain whenever he hired my coach. And when I went in, he said, you don't need to introduce me to this man. I know who he is. He told me one time I could do a lot worse, but I wasn't going to do a whole lot better than someone that I hired. So I guess the biggest impact that I feel like that I've had in the school system is being able to help others. Mm-hmm. And I've always enjoyed that. The things that I've seen change, the school system's better. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. You know, you should always be getting better, and I think the school system is better now. I think that a lot of the people that I knew who were in the school system are retired now, mm-hmm. and we've got new faces, new people. I'm real pleased too with the early college. Mm-hmm. That's something that's new that happened after I left the school system. One of the things that was being that originated when I was with the school system was the Career Center, mm-hmm. and the Career Center I think was a big thing for the school system. And the reason I like the Career Center concept is because it offered equal opportunity to all students. Mm-hmm. In other words, West Caldwell had different career vocational programs. Mm-hmm. Highbrighton had different programs. South Caldwell had different programs. And so some of those students never had the opportunity to have equal access to all the programs mm-hmm. that are available. And whenever they went to the Career Center concept, that was an added benefit to the Caldwell County school system. Mm-hmm. A lot of things have happened, but most of the things that happened have made the system better. Mm-hmm. And for that I'm proud.
Mm-hmm. When you were running for commissioner, what are the terms that you ran on?
You're talking about what were my goals?
Yes, your goals to achieve.
Okay. One of my goals when I ran for county commissioner in 1996, I was asked to run before I ran in 1996, but I didn't retire from the school system until 1994, and I had people wanting me to run for county commissioner while I was still working for the school system, and I said no, I would never do that. It's a conflict of interest, and I won't be a part of that. When I ran in 1996, I'd been out of the school system for 2 years, been retired 2 years. The biggest thing I ran on was trying to make the county better, mm-hmm. you know, and there were some couple issues at that time. One of them was trying to close down the incinerator mm-hmm. that was down on the South Caldwell School Road. That needed to be closed down. It was an albatross for the county, and had been for a number of years. That was one of my goals, was to eliminate that, get that thing behind us. The other was to put in a landfill, which we did. The landfill, we bought the land up on Abington Road. It's a nice landfill. It needed to be done, mm-hmm. and it was done. And that was one of my goals. One of the goals I had was to do a better job for employees, you know, offering better benefits, mm-hmm. and we were able to do that when I was. So those were the three of the main things that I looked at when I first ran for county commissioner. Mm-hmm. And I was a county commissioner for 12 years.
Mm-hmm. As you went along and continued to be a county commissioner, what are some of the other problems that you ran into that you were able to fix them and accomplish them, or some of the ones that you may not have been able to?
Well, you're not going to fix all the problems.
Yeah.
I think probably some of the things we were able to fix. One of the things we were able to do when I was commissioner. I spent a lot of time in Raleigh and in Washington, and most of those trips were trying to get money for the county, grant monies, which we were able to do. I didn't know, and I'd forgotten how many millions of dollars that our group of county commissioners were able to bring into Caldwell County during the time that I was in office. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is the amount or the millions of dollars that we were able to bring in to the county to help different programs here in the county.
Talking about the Longleaf Pine Award. Now, can you just state what that is for?
Well, the Order of the Longleaf Pine is something that's an honorary award that's given by the governor, and it's given to people who have distinguished themselves in being a contributor to their community and to the state. And I was proud to receive that award, but I was more proud of being able to receive that award with my brother, Wayne. And the reason I say that is because he's done a lot of different things in a field other than what I was in over his lifetime too. And I don't know of any other brothers that have received those awards at the same time. And the guy from the governor's office who presented those awards said that he could never recall any two brothers or any two siblings receiving the award at the same time. So, which I thought was a touch of class.
Yeah.
And I was proud to get it. Didn't feel like I deserved it, but I was still proud to get it.
What do you think that the governor saw in you to give you that award?
The governor called me before Christmas of the year I got the award the next year. The governor called me, and I asked the governor, when she called me, she said, I just wanted to call and wish you a Merry Christmas. You served on a couple of committees for the state, and I appreciate your serving on those committees. And I'm still on those committees. One of them, I'm a board member for the North Carolina Retired Government Employees Association. And I'm also a board member, and have been since 2003, of the North Carolina Clean Water Management Trust Fund Board. And we meet 4 or 5 times a year. She called me and said, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and I appreciate you serving on those boards. And I said, well, I really appreciate your calling. That's nice for you to do that. Thank you for the thought. But I said, well, I got you on the phone. I said, I told her about Wayne, that I wanted to see if if she thought he would be justified in receiving the Order of the Longleaf Pine. And she said, I want to give it to both of you. And she said, I'll personally come up there and give it to you, because you both have done a lot, and you both have done well. And so that's how it started. I said, I really don't want you to come and give me an award. And she said, oh, yes, I am. I'm coming, and I'm going to have it done. And she had one of her staff people to come and present that award, when we received the award. Another award that I'm going to receive on June 8th is from Appalachian State University. It's called the Rhododendron Society Award. They give that award every year to 3 people. They started in 1999. And that award, they give 3 each year. And that award is given, that's the highest award given by Appalachian's Department of Education. And I'm going to receive that award in June of this year. What makes me proud of receiving that award is that the impetus for getting that nomination and that award came from the Department of Education at Appalachian. In other words, they're the ones that got people involved and started getting me nominated to get into that society. And so I was real proud of that. I've always had a great relationship with the Department of Education at Appalachian. I've always been a very close friend of Charlie Duke, who's the dean of the college and who's retiring this year. So, and we're going up, Christine and I going up to their graduation this year. He's retiring, and they wanted us to come and be a part of a special group that would sit in a special section so that they can honor him whenever they had a graduation. So, something I didn't seek, but it's something the Appalachian wanted to make sure that I was nominated and got a part of that.
So what are you currently involved in with the school system?
Well, with the school system now, I serve on the Education Foundation Board, Board of Trustees. I've been on that board. The Caldwell County Schools Education Foundation Board. I serve on that board. I also serve on the Caldwell Community College Board of Trustees. I serve on that board. I did serve on the Caldwell Community College Foundation Board. But when I became a trustee, I had to come off of that board. I couldn't serve on both.
Oh.
And the reason they don't want you to serve on both is because the perception of a conflict of interest. And they didn't want to do that. In addition to that, I serve on Gardner-Webb University's Board of Trustees. I've been on that board for several years. I chair their Educational Affairs Committee for the Gardner-Webb University. Chairing that committee has they hire and they fire, they promote. So I chair the committee that does all that for the Gardner-Webb University and serve on their executive committee, which is 5 or 6 people serve on the executive committee for the university. I still serve on those state committees. I mentioned those earlier. The Clean Water Management Trust Fund and the Retired Government Employees Association. I did serve on Appalachian's Wright College of Education, that board, for about 10 years. I serve on I'm a member of a Rotary Club, a Caldwell County Rotary Club. So I'm staying busy. I've got all kinds of things going on.
Sounds like he's bored to death.
Yeah, so
Teach a Sunday school class.
yeah, I teach a Sunday school class each Sunday. I serve on the Caldwell Opportunities Board, which is for disadvantaged people, employment for disadvantaged people. I enjoy that group because I just feel like that's a group that I enjoy being around because it gives job opportunity to the people who couldn't hold a regular job because they've got either physical or mental disabilities that won't permit them to work in a regular job somewhere else. So. But anyway, I serve on the Conania board in Lenore. I serve on the Pathways group. I serve on the Friends of Wilson Creek group. One of the things I was able to do when I was a county commissioner was I was the point person to try to get the Wild and Scenic River designation for Wilson Creek. And I tested. In fact, I did testify before a Senate subcommittee in Washington on behalf of Wilson Creek whenever we were getting that designation. And that was a neat thing to do. I'd never been before a Senate subcommittee and sit down in front of all these senators from all over the United States and tell them why they should approve Wilson Creek as a wild and scenic river.
And they did.
And they did.
And they did.
In fact, they did it. It took us 19 months from the time we started until it was approved and written into law by Bill Clinton, who was president of the United States at that time. Unheard of in that short a period of time. Usually everything takes 3 to 5 years, but it took 19 months.